The baby boomers are becoming homeless, and no one seems to care. The baby boomers are becoming homeless and no one seems to care. Now, the most narcissistic generation in history are finding their butts on the streets, and none of their kids really give a damn about it. Watching this video to fully understand why the baby boomers are rapidly becoming homeless and how this is going to impact them going forward as they face old age and begin to go to Jesus. Now, let's just go ahead and jump right into the video.
The population of homeless baby boomers is growing fast, and researchers predict it's only going to get worse. A study from the University of Pennsylvania finds more people 50 and older are on the streets. The executive director of the Bishop Dudley Hospitality House is noticing the trend and is asking for your help.
I just want to point out, guys, very quickly that when they say 50 and older, this video is actually a little bit older. So this is a trend that's been happening over the last 10 years. Baby boomers have been rapidly becoming homeless over the last 10 years. And as a result, many baby boomers who were in their 50s at the time when this video was made were already headed to the streets, and I don't empathize for them.
On tonight's Ion Cuttle and Brady Mallory introduces you to two baby boomers who didn't expect their lives to turn out this way.
All over Sioux Falls, you may see any number of people who are homeless. Have you ever asked yourself, what happened and why?
I'm unable to afford my medications.
When 51-year-old Theda Hernandez moved here in the late 90s, she had two jobs. Eventually, she found herself out of work. Rent was too high, medications were too expensive, and finding assistance wasn't as easy as it seemed. She eventually found herself living on the streets.
Rough. I mean, it's like, it's cold. There's been friends that I've lost.
Hernandez's story is becoming more common for baby boomers over the age of 50.
When you're living on a fixed income, whether you have disability or Social Security, there is no way to make more money.
Bishop Dudley Hospitality House Executive Director Madeline Shields says she's seeing more guests here who are over 50 and homeless. As the trend increases, she says help doesn't seem to be keeping up.
Guys, these are people who lived very frivolous lives. It was one big party for them. They didn't save for retirement. They thought that, society would always have handouts for them. They had a big party, guys. It's still going. Boom, 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 boom. That's the baby boomers right there, man. They were shiesty and they were so cheap to their kids because they wanted everything for themselves. They wanted all the toys for themselves. They wanted all the cookies for themselves. All right, back in the 90s, they would walk around with these fat little bellies and these fatty packs because they couldn't keep their hands off the Haagen-Dazs. That comes directly from George Carlin. All right, he warned us about who these people were. He said they were cold, bloodless, miserable people that wanted everything for themselves and were already attacking the young people, attacking Gen X, and attacking children who were still in primary school. All right, these were not very good people. These were some terrible people. They never planned for their futures. They never planned for anything. And if you ever say anything about them, they're the first ones to try to shut you down and silence you. All of the woke garbage that we have today, it came from the baby boomers. All right, all of that crap, the losses of freedom of speech, it came from the baby boomers. A lot of these people were not decent. Guys, as soon as a large amount of them turned 20 years, entered into their 20s, they began voting as a hive mind, and they never stopped voting this way. These are bad people, man. These are very bad people. These are not godly people. These are god-awful people. God-awful people.
As most services, like affordable housing programs, are geared toward children and families. That leaves boomers out in the cold.
It's very concerning. We need more affordable housing. We need more income-based housing.
Shield says it then becomes a matter of having to choose between rent, medications, or food.
And it's not like rent is ever going to go down. And prescription drugs are never going to be cheaper.
They get behind on their bills. One thing leads to another, and eventually they're homeless.
These are real problems for people that they just cannot get out of.
Marianne Heeb agrees and says when she's looked for a job, she instead found discrimination.
We're stereotyped because of our age, which it also makes it hard to find even a part-time job because The younger generation doesn't think that people above 50 are worth anything anymore.
As the baby boomer generation has aged, the number of homeless people 62 and older jumped 68.5%.
Now, guys, I want you to notice just how old the boomers look. So you can see these are actually boomers. This is a video is a little bit older. And you can see this is what boomers looked like at this point in their life when they were in their 50s. They looked like they were actually in their 60s. These people look old as fuck. All right? Compare them to modern day Gen Xers who don't look anything like this because Gen X had to stay in shape. Gen X had to keep on grinding. Gen X had to keep on hustling. Gen X doesn't look like these people. The baby boomers are some of the most miserable, narcissistic, evil, mean spirited people to ever walk the face of this god awful planet. All right?
States from 2007 to 2017. That's according to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Heeb says it's easy to get frustrated.
We're out in the cold, irregardless of how we try.
It's intimidating. When you are homeless, you don't really know where to start.
Shields says there is a way for you to help. The Bishop Dudley Hospitality House needs more volunteers to work with baby boomers here on things like filling out online applications and just connecting to the right resources.
For individuals, there is just not that much support out there. And, you know, if we could get some volunteers to help mentor these people, help them make those phone calls to find out, you know, what's available out there.
It's not a problem we'll solve overnight, but Shields hopes to see more assistance for the over 50 crowd dealing with homelessness. As for Hernandez, she says she's lost many things, but hope isn't one of them.
Go to my churches and I pray, you know, give to the higher power to see, reach out to see, maybe there's an answer. And sure enough, there's hope out there.
With
You know something very interesting? Look how old she looks. Look how old she looks, guys. She looks old as hell. She's in her 50s, so this is a baby boomer. At the time that this video was recorded, this is about 10 years. She is old as hell. She looks old as hell. This is not how Gen X looks. Gen X, a 50-year-old Gen Xer still looks pretty damn decent. The boomers did not take good care of themselves. All right, the boomers are out there living these frivolous lives, these spendthrift lives. They thought that they would. Guys, I told you, the people who used the most drugs were the boomers. Gen X were the generation of drinking and cigarettes. All right, they drank and they smoked cigarettes. That was it. All right, Gen X didn't have cocaine money. All right, they didn't have that kind of money, and they were going to spend that kind of money. All right, there was a handful of them that had access to that, and that was usually people with rich parents. Okay, the typical Gen Xer, you know, they were drinking cheap liquor or shit like that and smoking cigarettes and fucking in the woods. That's how Gen X rolled. The baby boomers, oh no, they like that good stuff. They like that white powder. Okay, I said this before and I'll say it again. Not only black people were doing crack in the 80s. Okay, Grandma Becky, she's that little old lady that you see walking around in 2024. Grandma Becky was a legendary crackhead back in the 80s. Grandma Becky was a legendary crackhead. Do not let these boomers try to shift it up on you. They were out there doing bad back then. That whole crack epidemic, that was all them. That was all them. And fast forward to 2024, they're still homeless.
Our Eye on America as more people struggle to make ends meet. A startling number of those newly homeless are baby boomers. Tonight, CBS's Jonathan Vigliotti takes a look at why older people are now one of the fastest growing groups living on the streets.
So this is where you all sleep at night?
Yes, this is our sleeping quarters.
65-year-old Maria Negrete, her daughter and granddaughter live in their car on the streets of San Diego
Things to shower.
after losing their jobs and getting evicted from their apartment.
You have been looking for work. Your daughter has been looking for work. How frustrating has that been for you?
It's hard because as much as we try, we feel that the system pushes you to the position that we are.
Do you see a way off the streets back into a home?
No, especially with everything so expensive, like gas, the rent, everything.
Now, let's just be very clear. You know, some of you guys, when I talked about this video previously, you said that, you know, she lives in San Diego. She has no business living in San Diego. Guys, it really depends on where you live. Ultimately, the fact remains is that boomers were not built for hard times. All right, when hard times really hit, they don't know what to do. They cannot keep on working, guys. Realistically, many Gen Xers know they're going to keep working until they're dead. Like y'all Gen Xers listening to this right now, a lot of y'all know you're gonna be working till you're dead. Some of you found a way out. Some of you have found a way to create disposable income and so forth. But many of you know you're gonna be working till you're dead. You know that you can rest when you're dead. You're not gonna this thing is not gonna stop for you, and that's okay. That's okay because Gen X was built for the post-apocalyptic era. If you look at a lot of the movies and games and stuff from the Gen X era, it was all about post-apocalyptic shit. All right, what happens after the world completely implodes and now we're living in like sandstorm villages? That's Gen X right there. The boomers, they lived in the best era. They grew up with the best music, best television, best everything. They had everything handed to them. The world was much safer when they were growing up, and they were the center of the universe. They got everything that they wanted, and you can see exactly how they turned out. That's why people say Gen Z is exactly like these scumbags, guys. These people are rapidly ending up homeless. And guess what? No one cares. You know the reason why? Because they were shisty when it came to their own kids. They were shisty to pretty much every generation that came after them. And now guess what? They need a bit of help, and no one's gonna come rescue them. Okay? They're ending up homeless, and a lot of them are passing away homeless, and no one really cares. And that's gonna be ultimately it's gonna be a pattern that continues to accelerate, especially as they get older and they develop further health conditions. They become slower, and they end up in the streets. It's going to be rough on them, and no one really cares because they really didn't give a crap about us. I have so many of you guys writing in saying angry. I left home when I was 16 years old. My parents told me to get out, and I had to work and struggle for like years, and I lived with roommates, and it was hard. I will never help these people. All right. And there's some kids or some of these millennials who are like, I love my mommy, I love my daddy. That's fine. I don't give a shit. If you love your mommy and you love your daddy, then go take care of them. But don't think that the rest of us owe them anything. The boomers were absolutely horrible to us. All right. Honor thy father and thy mother. Listen to me. If you treat your kids like crap, if you throw your kids onto the streets and now you're 65 and you're looking for handouts from your kids, think again. That's why no one really gives a damn right now when it comes to the boomers. A lot of them are going to find themselves in poverty, destitute, and that's it. Are there boomers that did prepare, or are they got lucky? Absolutely. God bless them. But the vast majority of them, they barely have, they have a prayer, but that's about it. Because God helps those that help themselves. And these are some really dishonest people. And they think they're going to pray that they're going to pray their way out of consequences, but we'll see about that one. By the way, guys, if you're enjoying the content, subscribe to our newsletter for my personal thoughts, insights, and a free copy of my new guide, the Digital Nomad Blueprint. Click the link in the description to get your free copy. And also, guys, subscribe to the Angry Guy Clips channel, where we post shorter videos and video responses, and also the Angry Guy Live channel, where we live stream. Both channels are linked in the description. What do you guys think regarding all of this? The baby boomers are becoming homeless, and no one seems to care. Let me know your thoughts. We'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWM and walking away. And